We'll wait for a few minutes or
Yes, yes, yes. We will wait for a few minutes. We'll just wait for a few minutes. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes. Only 18 people have joined right now. I've messaged in the group asking them to join.
yeah. You may like to address any other questions they have regarding access, exam, and other things. Meanwhile,
Yes, yes, I will. I have some, I have to address some questions. I will do that once some more people join. Otherwise, there is no point. I have
yeah,
to repeat the same instructions again. Like people are just messaging me right now that attendance is not marked. So they have so what faculty members have done is they have registered on portal with another with another email ID, and Zoom they are joining from another email ID, and they are saying that attendance is not marked because I cannot track their attendance. I have initially also told that please register on Zoom with the same ID which is on AICT, same ID on Future Skills Prime. That's how we track attendance. The coupon code is also generated on the Atal email ID. So Atal email ID is the one uh, which is the base for attendance, for assessment. That's the whole. That's why so many issues are coming.
okay.
Have you shared your recent picture with me? I need to put it on. I need to
I
put
shared
it.
with you. I
You
shared.
shared me? Okay,
Hmm.
I'll just check. Okay. I'll just request everyone to get your colleagues also in the lecture, please, so that we can start. I'm just going to wait for a couple of more minutes, then we will start.
There is some chart. I think people. Yeah. Only good evening is there. Nothing else.
Okay, I think we can start. It's already 5 minutes. Otherwise you will not be
No
able to cover
problem.
all the
Yeah, yeah,
topics.
that's okay.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to this session. Welcome everyone to this day 4 of the online faculty development program. And today's session is very interesting, ChatGPT and its impact on education. So, as faculty members, how you can best use this tool for having better engagement with the students. This is one lesson which will be really helpful for you. Some of you are asking me about your attendance. I'll just repeat that the email ID with which you registered on Atal, please use the same email ID to log to Zoom. Please use the same email ID for Future Skills Prime. You have to complete that course on generative AI fluency, which yesterday Anjana has told you about. So please do that. And attendance, we have not updated for 11th and 12th. We will update all the attendance. Latest by Monday, all the attendance will be updated. Please allow us some time. So, with that, I'll hand it over to Dr. Prakash Koteti. He's a senior consultant and expert working. He's a master trainer. He's working with TechM, and he believes in getting and imparting all the knowledge of AI to all of you faculty members. He has worked in academia also before. He has been a professor, and that's why when he talks to you, he makes the meeting very engaging, and I'll request you also to engage, to interact, put your questions in the question box, and make the best use of this opportunity which is provided by AICT and NASCOM to get you master trainers to learn about generative AI fluency. So over to you, Dr.
Yeah,
Prakash.
thank you so much, Kamna, for the introduction. Good evening, everybody. So, today we'll be discussing about ChatGPT, how we can leverage this, and we also look at certain pros and cons associated with it, right? So, let me just begin with the evolution of education, right? Because this talk is predominantly pertaining to education, right? We are all educators. So if you look at the evolution, right, how it evolved since 90s, right? If you see early 90s, you start with conceptualizing digital learning, because till that time only we have this mindset of a classroom learning, right? Because we don't have much infrastructure in that aspect, right? So we start leveraging this uh, understanding digital platforms and creating certain learning solutions, right, on these platforms, right? So then skill development has become very prominent in terms of imparting, right? Like for example, how people learn. You must have seen, uh, teaching learning process, right? We have different words like pedagogy, andragogy, and all that, right? So one is three ingredients are very essential, right, for uh, educational ecosystem. One is what you want to teach, then how you want to teach, then how do you measure demonstrable outcomes, right? Demonstrable outcomes means there are certain guidelines. If you recall Bloom's revised taxonomy, right? There are certain guidelines which are given, even including the terms that we have to use, isn't it? Describe, explain, uh, you know, evaluate, because there are different levels of cognition that we have, right? All of you are aware of these things. I don't want to repeat that. Now, slowly when it comes to 2000s, we have tremendous infrastructure with respect to internet, right? And we see evolution of e-learning platforms, and various tools for teaching learning. And another 10 years, if you look at 2010, in that vicinity, uh, we see that smartphones, right? They are also good, and at the same time, they are distractors. Most of the time, as faculty, we also suffer, right? That how can I make these guys engaged? How can make my class very engaging, isn't it? So these are some of the challenges that we were delving with. Then there is a concept of blended learning where you have certain things that you can cover and you want to give some activities, and you know you want to promote experiential learning, so that they learn from the experiences and they learn from each other, like peer learning, isn't it? Now, if you look at recent past, right? Now we have scale. Two things are very important, right? Scaling, at what rate you are scaling, speed, right? So we have the platforms like MS Teams, Google Meet, Zoom, etc. And there are certain AI tools which are available for us, both for student community and as well as faculty, right? And even though there is entire ecosystem pertaining to tools and frameworks, we will be restricting ourselves to the scope of prompt engineering and critical AI literacy, right? Because uh, how do you engage with these large language models is also very, very important. So purpose of prompt engineering is to help us reflect on various techniques to design effective prompts. Okay. So this is how it is. So any questions so far? Anything anyone wants to add? Because I don't want this to be a monolithic one-way communication, right? Anything anyone wants to add here? And I think you will be having a question, right? The question, if I were you, I will say that what are the outcomes of this session, right? Every session, obviously, you should have outcomes, right? What are the outcomes of this session? Let me explain you that. There are predominantly three outcomes. First one is you will be able to explain various mechanisms associated with prompt engineering. Second outcome, you will be able to design prompts using some of the good practices. Then third one is we will explore various options of leveraging these large language models using prompt engineering in education, right? These are the three important objectives of this particular session. Does it make sense? Hello? Yeah, very good. Fantastic. Now let me begin this. So first we look at ChatGPT. Essentially, in one of the sessions, I explained you what is GPT, right? What is GPT? What is GPT? Don't try anything. Don't try in Google. You just recollect what is GPT. Why it is called chat? because this particular LLM, right, based on OpenAI, is predominantly best suited for uh, conversational AI driven by text. Okay, so this is developed by OpenAI on transformer model architecture, and this transformer model is trained on voluminous data sets to get more relevant responses. When you say human like responses, more relevant responses that you want to, you know, train the model to get, right? So now, of course, you see current GPT-5 model, it it is, you will be hearing that it is trained on order of trillion parameters, right? What are the parameters? We already discussed in the previous one of the sessions, right? What are the parameters? Parameters are the weights associated with the model, right? Because the model is an abstraction of complex networks with layers and nodes, and these are attached with certain weights, isn't it, to extract higher order features. That's what we discussed, right? So, GPT models actually promoted this particular discipline of generative AI, right? Predominantly because of reusable weights. That means you train the model on a particular uh, ecosystem with uh, voluminous data, and the weights that you get can be reused for other conversations that you want to establish. So we already discussed about neural network, isn't it? So, and this is a famous paper, right? And which says that attention is what you need, all you need, right? So these transformer models enable you to extend it to various type of use cases, right? And predominantly, you know, text input, right? But we also discussed about multimodal AI, right? Where we have these Gemini based models, right? But here, when it comes to education, right, we predominantly talk about content. Content need not necessarily be so complex, right? Because the way we converse is either to text or to document, right, or speech. So more or less, you will be able to handle this. You are not dealing with multimodal A, right? But when you are looking at assessments, etc., then probably you may need different modes as well. But that is not our scope, right? We want to understand how these models can be used for uh, education, promoting active learning. Right? Now, let us understand first the working of a GPT model. So, GPT model has two arms, as you can see here. One arm is towards training, another arm towards response generation, right? Because we are talking about generative models. That means we are not talking about predicting something, right? We want to generate new content based on the content which is already seen by the model. So in the left arm, you can see here training. Uh, in the training phase, you have a large volume of data is given as part of the training to the model. Based on that, it will construct pre-trained model, right? With pre-trained weights, right? You have set of weights which are pre-trained. Now, obviously, these weights are associated with or learned from different patterns, right? So one example is sequential modeling, where you always have some context attached with current response based on the previous response, right? The sequential models are a kind of memory based models where you want to retain the context, previous context, because what you respond now should be relevant to what is in recent past, right? So that's where sequencing is very important, sequential models, right? Now you have prediction of, for example, next word, right? On the other hand, when you look at response generation arm, you have a transformer architecture. There you have a self-attention mechanism which is driven by encoder, and you have a decoder. You know typically how an encoder decoder works, right? Everybody knows how an encoder decoder works. Hello. So then you try to fine tune the model with optimal response function, right? Now let us look at education as a domain and how these GPT models can be used in this domain. That is what we are talking about. So one is want to leverage these GPT models for personalized learning, right? And instant answers or responses with appropriate explanations, with proper explanations. And then we want to harness problem solving skills among the students, and you want to ensure that the learning is effective, driving towards the outcomes. That means they should be able to complete various assessment instruments which are described as per the scope in time, right? And we may also want to promote supporting ecosystem. There again, these artificial intelligence and the models like GPT models are coming handy. So next important thing is students. It helps students to understand and fasten the learning curve. Understanding means I reflect on, it is metacognition, right? In Bloom's taxonomy, reflecting one's own learning is metacognition, right? That is one aspect. Another thing is that you want these tools to help to fasten your learning cycle. That means uh, you can leverage these GPT models to help you out and in fastening your overall learning journey. And of course, it gives a lot of creative responses based on the content it gets curated and or extracts content that it extracts from various sources, right? Now let us see how it works, right? I have couple of things to showcase. Hope let me know if you are able to see and hear this. What to play this? This is some ad. We can't help it. Let me just okay.
14-year-old Calvin Martin is now comfortable doing something he used to dread.
Able to hear
Growing
it?
up, what was reading like for you?
Oh, it was miserable.
Miserable because at 9 years old, Calvin was diagnosed with dyslexia.
Oh, okay.
I knew I was gonna fail.
Estimates for how many people have dyslexia range from as low as 3 to higher than 17%. Dyslexia is a learning disability that affects how people read. They see things the same as everyone else, but have problems processing the words. Linguist Coral Ho founded the company EDU National in upstate New York and designed a game-based program to address that. Using artificial intelligence technology she calls Dissolve AI.
It reorganizes the brain.
Ho says unlike other online educational games, there's no pre-made format to hers. Instead, Dissolve AI functions like a real teacher, responding to students' individual needs.
We have this patented advanced technology to actually have the computer system generate or build a game in real time during interaction with each student.
The game teaches how to separate words into syllables. Ho says Dissolve AI already has subscribers in 38 states and that a clinical trial is underway with over 750 students in 28 schools. Users, she says, typically catch up to their grade reading level in an average of 1 to 2 years. The cost? $1,000 per school year.
The sound is puh, as in Peter.
And you're going to pick out every fish that has the puh sound.
Correct.
Pack, Pete, pole, band.
Calvin scores points with each correct answer. His father calls it a game changer.
He was resistant at first, but he persevered and he started to see the improvement.
After 2 years using Dissolve AI, Calvin went from failing English to
Listen
acing
to
it.
this carefully.
I
Questions after
feel good about my reading. I feel confident. I can read what is the material on my own.
Now excited about school and the next chapter in learning. Rahima Ellis, NBC News, Pine Bush, New York.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the.
Now, question to you. What is dyslexia? Right? What is the disorder we are talking about in this use case? What is the disorder we are talking about in this use case? Hello? Two questions I have. What is the disorder we are talking about? How this is leveraged in education, right? Because predominantly what we are looking at is leveraging these models in education, right? So this specific use case talks about what? Want me to play again? I will play because I'm not sure if you can see this is some advertisement. And
14-year-old Calvin Martin is now comfortable doing something he used to dread.
Growing up, what was reading like for you?
Oh, it was miserable.
Miserable because at 9 years old, Calvin was diagnosed with dyslexia.
I knew I was gonna fail.
What dyslexia?
Estimates for how many people have dyslexia range from as low as 3
What is this problem? Hello? Are you there? Are you able to hear clearly? What is this problem? There are certain uh, disorders, right? Autism, dyslexia, right? So autism example I explained in the case of how AI generated music can be used as a therapy, right, for such problems, right? Like uh, creating certain sounds of birds and dolphin, right? And they have uh, peculiar sound waves, right? They actually it help in uh, towards curing certain disorders like autism, right? So dyslexia is another such disorder. What it is? Because if you don't answer, you know,
to higher than 17%.
feel you have not
Dyslexia
understood
is
this.
a learning disability that affects how people read.
So basically, it is a learning disability connected with reading, right?
They see things the same as everyone else, but have problems processing the words. Linguist Coral Ho founded the company EDU National in upstate New York and designed a game-based program to address that. Using artificial intelligence technology she calls Dissolve AI.
It reorganizes the brain.
Ho says unlike other online educational games, there's
So
no
Dissolve
pre-made
A is
format to
one of such
hers.
tools, right?
Instead, Dissolve AI functions like a real teacher, responding to students' individual needs.
We have this patented advanced technology to actually have the computer system generate or build a game in real time during interaction with each student.
The game teaches how to separate words into syllables. Ho says Dissolve AI already has subscribers
Okay,
in
all right. I think
38
this is
states
just
and that a
issue.
clinical trial is
Let
underway.
me go back to the next thing. Now, how schools and students are exploring this, right?
AI is the new reality in classrooms across the country.
So how many of you use the AI like ChatGPT or Bard in this
I
discussion?
just
How
want to
many of you pulled
ensure
it up? All right.
full volume is there.
AI is the new reality in classrooms across.
So how many of you use the AI like ChatGPT or Bard in this discussion? How many of you pulled it up? All right.
As more students turn to tools like ChatGPT or Google's Bard to generate explanations or whole essays in seconds. A new survey found nearly half of teens say they will likely use AI to do their schoolwork this year, even though more than half in the same survey say they consider it cheating.
I know plenty of people like to actually.
High school senior Zachary Clifton says since ChatGPT's release last November, it's become normal at schools like his.
I think that the learning loss that was brought on by the pandemic, it caused an influx of students who felt compelled to cheat.
He says he uses the tech only to create study guides, but says it's no secret AI can easily be misused.
I think whether or not ChatGPT will enhance or impair a student's education is ultimately their
I think for us to fight it is a losing.
To
GPT as a tool instead of a shortcut, right? Now, you few thoughts on uh, how do you leverage this using this GPT as a tool instead of a shortcut? What do you think? Number one, problem-based learning and project-based learning provides student opportunities to explore themselves and come up with something substantial, right? So if you look at the concepts that we want to cover as faculty, you can classify these concepts, right? Let me finish this, then probably
Russian and Gov versus to use it in English to write a paragraph.
Ms. Hancock says she may even consider changing how she evaluates her students.
I think that the way we assess student knowledge is going to increasingly be in this format. It's going to be conversation and discussion, maybe formal debates of some kind. But it's
Tell me about what you know. Consider changing how she evaluates her students.
I think that the way we assess student knowledge is going to increasingly be in this format. It's going to be conversation and discussion, maybe formal debates of some kind. But it's
Tell me about what you know here and now.
right.
Don't write it down. Don't
Right.
email it to me.
You'll have a chance to prep
And AI may force
if you have access sound.
AI is the new
Some
reality
idea
in
of how
classrooms.
it is being leveraged, right? Now let us understand, let us check out something more uh, meaningful, right?
AI
As faculty, right? How do we leverage this? Give me a minute. So essentially what we have as educators is we have outcomes, right? Yes or no? Everybody knows we deal predominantly with the objective of achieving these learning outcomes, right? And from outcomes you map to course level outcomes. So how do you derive this? Because when you have a course, right? What is a course? When you take a course, what is a course? I'm not just looking at in the academic standpoint, right? Suppose you want to teach a course such a way that actually you want to facilitate because role of teachers now more of facilitators, right? Because there is a lot of knowledge available, and our role is to facilitate, right? So what a course contains? Course, I look at course as a set of concepts, right? Can I say this? Course is a collection of concepts. Hello? Now, you classify these concepts, right? So, when you take a concept, you can classify them into multiple classes. Predominantly, there are four classes you can define. This is about recall, right? And second type of concepts is apply, application. There is a scope for application. Then third one is about analysis, construction, right? And C4 is basically metacognitive, right? What is metacognitive? What is metacognitive? Evaluating one's own learning. Own learning. Does it make sense, whatever I'm trying to communicate with you? Why? Because we want to look at these language models and how effectively we can use them. For that, we need to understand our goal as educators, right? This is what it is. So this is how you construct, right? Then of course, you actually prepare learning objectives from this, right? So the point I want to make here is that in order to achieve these learning objectives, right, you need to have appropriate assessment instruments mapped, right? You need to map assessment instruments against these concepts. Now tell me, can you give me an example of what is event type concept? What is event type? For example, if you say evolution of internet technologies, right? That can be a concept, right? So initially how it was, when it actually started, and then what are the challenges we have. So then this is one of the primitive things that you come up with when you, let's say when you handle a course like programming, like Java, right? Now when it comes to application, you say that you want to, you explain them a concept of inheritance, right? So that is, I am talking about computer science, right? Suppose you are from, let's say, math or physics, you either look at, you know, uh, solving a quadratic equation, right? Isn't it? How do you solve this quadratic equation? Maybe through some interdisciplinary problems, right? Now, when it comes to third one, construction, right? So construction or constructivism happens through building something. or constructing, right? Now, level 4 is evaluating what we have already constructed through some evaluation metric. Now, tell me, uh, suppose you want to use ChatGPT, what is the scope? What do you think we can? Because see, this is not like one-way communication. That okay, uh, you all here, you are investing your time, right? So you expect we get into a conversation and formulate certain things as an approach. That will be one of the outcomes that we take it from this session, right? It is not that okay, I keep explaining you, then probably you may realize that will be very boring, right? We want to make this session engaging. So what do you think among these concept types where we can leverage these GPT models? Because one important thing in the use case demonstration, right, or videos that you have seen, that we want to leverage these tools for construction, not as shortcut. That is the word that is being used, right? Now, where we can use this? One option is that you normally will be struggling in the classrooms, that so many topics we need to cover, right? So instead of taking that burden or responsibility of covering entire scope within 35 or 40 lectures, for example, if you take 3 credit course, why can't we delegate some of these topics to the students to learn? We give them a problem associated with that concept, or uh, using problem based learning, and let them explore whichever way it is. And now that thing is, they will have various degrees of freedom, right? Because they can use Gemini or whatever, Chat GPT, etc. They might come up with different uh, artifacts. Now, as a educator, we should have the ability to evaluate them in appropriate way, connected with demonstrable outcomes, right? That's where our challenge is, isn't it? Do you agree with me or disagree with me? So, yeah, very good. So, Senthil Kumar, sir, actually C1 is the not appropriate class of concept where we want to promote these LLMs. Okay, the potential opportunity to leverage these LLMs lies with respect to C3. That means critical thinking, right? So we should always aspire and aim towards promoting critical thinking among students, and put a question to ourselves, that how can I promote critical thinking using or leveraging these tools? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Right? So that's where prompt engineering plays very important role, because one component of this session is also covering prompt engineering, right? So I will explain you what is prompt engineering and various intricacies of prompt engineering, right? So now we understood the need for GPT models and the scope where we can leverage them, right? So let me go back to the slide. Any point that you want to share? Anything you want? Any point of view you want to bring in here? We can discuss. No questions, so no problem. So let me just share again. So 1 minute. Now let us look at this very, very interesting another use case I want to present. Can you recognize this person?
OpenAI invited myself and my son Imran here.
Khan Academy. Yeah.
To try out some of their new technology. And so we're curious about how good it might be.
This some AI tool, right?
Imran here, to try out some of their new technology.
Actually, in this format,
Hello there. I'm here with my son, and I love.
Let's look at the problem together. Can you first identify which sides of the triangle are the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse
So we
relative
always
to angle alpha?
All right.
aspire to
So
bring in the element of inquiry-based learning, right? Now look at how the conversational AI is helping or promoting this inquiry-based learning in a very, very systematic way.
I'm pretty sure this is the angle alpha right here, right?
Perfect. That's correct. Now, looking at the triangle, which side do you think is the hypotenuse?
Really,
Remember
I mean,
hypotenuse?
I'm not totally sure. I think it might be this one, but I really am not sure. This side AC.
You're close. Actually, side AC is called the adjacent side to the angle alpha. The hypotenuse is the longest side of a right triangle and is directly opposite the right angle. Can you find which one is the hypotenuse?
Oh, okay, I see. So, I think the hypotenuse is this really long side from A to B. Would that be correct?
Exactly. Well done. Now that you've identified the hypotenuse, can you identify which side is the opposite side to angle alpha?
Okay, well, I mean, you told me earlier that this was the adjacent side, and I know that's the hypotenuse, so I'm guessing that this side, BC, is the opposite side.
Great deduction. That's absolutely correct. Now that you've identified all the sides relative to angle alpha, do you remember the formula for finding the sine of an angle in a right triangle?
Yeah, I know that the sine is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse.
Perfect. That's absolutely right.
To
Now,
teach students trigonometry, right? And one reason could be that there's so much of uh, problem solving involved in trigonometry. We often ignore or we often won't give enough emphasis that actually this concept deserves, right? Because we always anxious about covering and solving a lot of problems. But crux of trigonometry lies in formulating the problem, because heights and distances, if you take, is one such a area where you apply these concepts, right? So now trigonometry, if you take as a concept, right? So you might be having angles as a concept within that, measures as a concept. Now this measures comes under application class, right? Now what we are trying to do is how do we leverage a conversational AI to impart application level knowledge through constructivism. That means you want to construct a triangle and try to explain how it is, right? So as a faculty or a teacher, how do we look at it, right? One way of looking at it is that you directly give them, first we explain them the prescription of various formula, right? Then you may ask them to prepare maybe one sheet or something of that sort on these concepts by figuring out applications of this formula, right? You can ask people to write small uh, use case or application individually or group wise. Then they can leverage these platforms, right? And they come with enormous number of applications. And then that's what constructivism is all about, right? Because as a teacher or educator, our scope of coverage is limited because we have various responsibilities uh, to handle towards achieving the learning outcomes, right? But this gives you additional degree of freedom where you are asking these guys to leverage these platforms and come up with something more meaningful, right? Does it make sense? This is an example. Later on, I will take a good example uh, on operations research because that is one of the favorite areas of mine, and where optimization problems, right? Because optimization problem is a core of uh, machine learning and model tuning, right? Because if you take various models like support vector machines, right? That's where we will be solving this kind of optimization problem. You will leverage this technique. That's why you should always make correlate with what are the mathematical principles they already know, right? Because essentially in support vector machines, we want to divide the feature space and transform the feature space so that you can construct a linear decision boundary, isn't it? All right, let me.
Okay, you apply that formula to find side alpha in the triangle using the lengths of the sides that we've identified.
Okay, so I mean, you told me that 7, this side BC, is the opposite side. And then you said that the hypotenuse is the longest side, so that would be this side AB, which is 25. So would the answer be 7 over 25?
Excellent work. That's correct. Sine alpha equals 7 over 25. You did a great job identifying the side formula. If you have any more
All
questions,
right.
feel free to ask.
How is it? How do you find this? In what way it is different from our conventional teaching? What are your observations? You can be open. You can, if you feel that this is not appropriate to do, or you have various limitations of doing this, you can list out. We can deliberate. This is not, see, I am not a brand ambassador of using all this. We just want to discuss together and leverage. How do we leverage this? Because this is going to be there, isn't it? Either we have to make it as a choice, or we'll be left behind. Simple thing, right? What do you think in this video uh, in terms of learner experience? Whether it is good or bad or ugly, whichever way it is, please share in chat. What do you think? Just give me one advantage of that approach. Shall I tell you? We can introduce trigonometry even to 6th class student with that approach. Do you agree? This is just an example. Now imagine we are talking about optimization problem. You want to teach undergraduate student on giving introduction to optimization problems, right? Why do you want to give introduction to optimization problem? You say that tomorrow I want to start optimization techniques. Before come to the class, I am going to ask you randomly questions on why should we learn optimization techniques. These are the questions that you will be asking, because you are not going to become a brand ambassador for optimization techniques, right? Because it is not your responsibility, right? You are not responsible for their learning. They should be responsible for their learning, isn't it? So that will make your life simple, because they will come, they will go through various platforms and come back and share it with you. Then straight away you can start the concept. Like for example, uh, simple linear model, right? X1 plus x2 is equal to constant. Then you slowly get into simplex method and other things. So that gives you level of comfort to deal with such complex subjects, because otherwise you will be defending on convincing people on the need to learn this subject, and you will be spending time in convincing people why it is important. Instead of that, you delegate the responsibility to these guys. When they come back, you ask, what do you think, why do you think we should learn this, isn't it correct? So that way what will happen, your engagement span will be better, and it will be very very fruitful. And there are certain things that we need to understand with respect to leveraging this, because it is a double-edged sword, right? One is originality and data privacy concerns, integrity issues, right? Sometimes superficial knowledge people will get, right? So again, our responsibility as educators is to evaluate that whether they really understood or not, because we then, based on our experience, we can ask probing questions to these guys, right? Yes or no? Now let us get into the next topic called prompt engineering, right? Now, so till now, what are the three takeaways in the last 1 hour? Can you list out on the chat box? What are the three takeaways? Please list out. Are there any, first of all, takeaways? Dr. Shiva, Dr. Senthil, Professor Sanjay, because at least I know these guys, you guys are interacting in the chat. So I take that liberty to call you, isn't it? Now I have a question to you. You consider one subject and put your thoughts on how you can leverage these generative models in your subject. Just put some thoughts. What is the subject and how you want to use this in way forward? What is the first thing that we should look at? Because everybody says that, okay, you leverage LLMs, you leverage GPT, etc. But crux of the things comes to our mind as educator is that how do we ensure that you know learning effectiveness is not compromised? How do we ensure that learning goals are achieved, right? Isn't it? So considering this, you need to bring that component in to our pedagogy, right? So you take any example, you can in fact ask me that question, right? You can reverse question me that how do you bring this, isn't it? I will show you good example. I will show you an example because prompt engineering is a backbone of conversational AI, because without prompt engineering, you know, then the discussion that we had so far has no meaning, because one is we want to leverage these models with the given context, but second thing is how do we do it? How do we interact? Data structures, we can use generative to animate, trace the algorithm with sample with fantastic, right? Another thing, another question is that I have learned a traveler salesman problem. Give me 3 applications of traveler salesman problem in real life and demonstrate me how this algorithm can be used. This is the prompt you can ask ChatGPT, right? Yes or no? Hello? So earlier, what is the situation for the educator? We will be searching on Google by typing that question, etc. Now, what ChatGPT does, or any that generative model, it will extract the information using its prior knowledge as well as other resources, distills that information and gives it like a nice lesson plan so that your class will be engaging, right? Isn't it? Okay, very good. Cloud infrastructure resources, cloud service models. Exactly. Exactly, Dr. Divyesh Kumar. So after observing your responses, right, one thing is very clear. What is it? First thing is shift in mindset, correct? First thing, shift in mindset, because we also need to unlearn certain things and we have to learn new things, right? Because if you want to introduce that element, we have to drop certain things. What we have to drop, we should not be conservative and we should not be emotionally connected with a topic that it has to be taught in this particular fashion only, right? Once you leave that there, then you put a question saying that how can I leverage this? In what aspect I can bring this in, right? You should not bring in an artificial way, right? Isn't it? Please understand, there is a limitation. We are not deliberating here that 80% of your course should be driven by ChatGPT. We are not saying that, right? We want to say that how do I identify potential touch points where I can bring in this. Right? Some courses there may be very limited also. That should be fine. Right? We can't help with that, right? All right. Correct. Exactly. You are absolutely correct, sir. Divyesh. Because that is hypocrisy, lot of hypocrisy, right? Now we are getting into prompt engineering, right? So prompt engineering, what the one minute. What is this prompt engineering? Essentially, we want to tune the output of these LLMs. What is the best way I can converse with this large language model or transformer model so that it gives me more meaningful, coherent information to me, right? That's what prompt engineering is all about, right? So we look at few things. Internally, if you look at internal process, right, it involves tokenization, right? Extracting meaningful words, model parameter tuning, because if you give junk as input, it will give junk as output, right? How efficiently I can leverage this model? Suppose you send a very bad prompt. What will happen? It will spend a lot of time in learning, correct? Isn't it? Indirectly, you are not helping the ecosystem, right? Because it will have heating effect, lot of water we have to waste, isn't it? So let us look at some of the aspects of prompt engineering. There are three prompting techniques we have. One is zero shot prompting. Second one is few shot prompting. The third one is chain of thought prompting, right? What are these prompts, right? Each shot represent an example. Are you going to give an example while prompting, or you don't want to give an example, right? So let us compare them. We look at various aspects. What is the definition of one-shot prompting? You want to provide the model with single example to guide its response. For example, Delhi is capital of India. What is the capital of Malaysia? You are giving one example and asking a question. Next category is few shot prompting. In few shot prompting, we want to give couple of examples, 2, 3 examples, so that the model understands better the context, right? Chain of thought means you want to do inquiry based reasoning step by step. The way you have seen the AI tool explaining that student on, how sine theta can be computed from the right angle triangle, right? So you want to show the reasoning in a step by step manner, in a very, very methodical way. I will show you one example also after this, but try to understand these definitions. What is the purpose? If you see one shot prompting, you want to give the model a basic idea or example. It can be with respect to format, or it can be with respect to the task that we are taking up. In few shot prompting, we want to help the model to learn a pattern, because unless you give 2, 3 examples, it cannot establish pattern easily, right? It has to do more work, isn't it? In chain of thought, you want to harness logical reasoning or chronological sequencing, right? The questions which are connected with critical thinking, analysis, synthesis aspects of Bloom's taxonomy, that can come under chain of thought prompting, right? Now, with respect to model guidance, it is limited because you are not you don't have that much scope actually, because your question also is simple. That's why you are just giving one example. In model guidance, few shot prompting, it is moderate because the model infers the task structure and generalize from multiple examples. And the model guidance is very high because model explicitly reasons through intermediate steps. Now, various use cases. It is for quick formatting, text classification, and complex classification, so on and so forth. The degree of complexity increases as you go from one shot to multi-shot, right? Give me a minute. Let me share. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So this is about various ways you can give prompts. Now let us look at use cases of prompt learning. So we can get into study mode, right? That's what it says, how we can get into study mode. Into this. So one of the more tough concepts in mathematics for machine learning is singular value decomposition, right? So I will say that first question is, I will say, what is singular right? Now it is giving me a definition, right? That means I can factorize a matrix. You're able to see my screen? Give me a minute, I will share my screen. Sorry. Yeah. Suppose I give this prompt, right? It is giving all this example. Now let me ask another thing, another prompt I will give. For example, I will ask what is positive definite matrix, right? So it is the definition. Now I will say that given the matrix 1 0 0 1 is positive definite. Suppose I ask this question. See how nicely it works out for you, friends, right? Isn't it? Now suppose I want to understand that what is the difference between singular value decomposition and eigenvalue decomposition. Suppose I ask this. We know the eigenvalue decomposition requires square matrix, right? But it is not explaining that you expect SVD works for any matrix, not necessarily square matrix, right? So suppose tomorrow you start a class on this, right? Factorization problem. You tell them that you go and figure out the difference between singular value decomposition, eigenvalue decomposition. The first thing that they need to understand is this. This will have tremendous impact on their learning, because if you just say, they take it for granted, right? Because it is very, very powerful statement what we are making here. But if they explore on their own and come back and tell this, first of all, they understand that so much they are exploring, right, in the process. So these are some of the things, that's where prompts, when you give the prompts, it is very important to know various techniques associated with the prompts. That's why I'm saying the relevance of prompt engineering when it comes to knowledge construction, right? Let me give you one more example. Notebook LM is another famous example for this.
Welcome to Notebook LM. This is where you can start exploring the power of generative AI. The first thing you need to do is start a new notebook. Select the Create button here.
You can see the screen, right?
Once you do that, you'll be prompted to add some source.
Are you able to see this? Hello? Give me a minute. One minute. I will share this again. Sorry, can you see now? Can you see this?
Notebook LM.
Can you hear me?
This is where you can start.
Can you hear the video? Good.
The first thing you need to do is start a new notebook. Select the Create button here to get started. Once you do that, you'll be prompted to add some source documentation. Notebook LM supports PDFs, text files, Markdown, or audio files like MP3. You can also add documents from Google Drive. You can add links from websites or YouTube, and even paste in text. Let's try this out and upload these documents. Mackenzie's report uploaded. This text box at the bottom is where you'll enter your prompts. Think of it similarly to Gemini as having a conversation with a super smart assistant. But think of Notebook LM as a research assistant that relies only on the documents you provided for context. There you go. Notebook LM will create a concise summary, drawing directly from the uploaded documentation, and provide citations for easy reference. You can ask Notebook LM questions about the source material, give it creative tasks, or have it summarize highly complex information. You'll also notice in the right panel, Studio panel, you'll see two sections, an audio overview and a notes section. The audio overview section will actually generate a podcast from two hosts based on the source documentation. And the notes section will auto-generate a note or a study guide, a briefing document, an FAQ, or
So these are some of the examples, right? I will now quiz time, right? So let me ask some questions. In prompt engineering, there is something called persona pattern, right? What is the purpose of persona pattern? Persona pattern means understanding uh, interest and likes and dislikes of people, right? What do you think more relevant in these options? Which option is more relevant? Is it controlling the length of the model output? Is it model assume specific role or identity? Because that persona understanding is important so that you can give relevant prompt. So correct option is B, because these kind of questions we can expect, right? We have, of course you have exam also at the end, isn't it? As part of assessment. Now look at this. What is the which of the following is an example of persona prompt? One is explain quantum mechanics. You are a helpful math tutor. Solve the following problem step by step. Which one among them is persona prompt? You're talking about a persona means specific person. Option is B, isn't it? Now, why are persona patterns useful in prompt engineering? Which option is correct? Go through each option. They guide the model's tone, expertise, and perspective. I did not discuss much about hallucinations because that itself is a uh, 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 different complex subject, right? Because our scope is specific to this education, right? Now, a teacher designing prompts for educational chatbot, and it wants that all as patient tutor. Which techniques best applies? Are you using few short examples? Chain of thought reasoning, setting a persona with role play instructions, enforcing a limit on token length. That means number of words that you give. What is our objective? Educational chatbot. For educational chatbot, you want to have a educational chatbot as a tutor. Now, which prompt it is? Is it few short prompt you want to give? Apply chain of thought reasoning, setting a persona with role play instructions. Which option do you think is appropriate in this? C? Is it B or C? You think about it. Next, a major cause of bias in AI systems is which of the following? Because of human bias, the way you give the prompt, right? It's very important. Because this is not, again, we don't have scope of bias and fairness, etc. But it is better to understand these things as well, right? Fairness, what is fairness? Fairness refers to C option. Provide equitable treatment across different groups of people, right? So I want to explain certain concepts through quiz because I could not cover in the class due to shortage of time, but it will give you additional information. We have a lending ecosystem, a lending application, right? With respect to loans. So men, it is actually approves for more towards men, right? Is it fairness issue or bias issue or randomness or determinism? It is bias. So these are all common sense, but unless you develop this mindset, it is difficult. Similarly, which organization or guiding principle emphasizes fairness? This is very important. UNESCO, whenever you have free time, read about UNESCO AI ethics recommendation. I just want to tell that. Okay. Next, why is fairness important in AI system? To ensure AI benefits are distributed equally across society. With that note, I will stop. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks, Kamana, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prakash. Good It's very nice. You're taking questions also and explaining the concepts and then helping them with questions which will help them for the assessment also. So thank you so much for that. And
Okay.
we will see you in the next cohort, which is
Yeah,
next
yeah.
week.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'm very happy to now welcome our next trainer, Aditya Johar.
Hi, Kamna.
Welcome, Aditya.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much for joining in and for taking this session for our faculty members. We have almost 100 plus members who have registered. And I'll just, for the benefit of everyone, I'll just give some, before I hand it over to you. We have uploaded the attendance only till 10th November. After that, my team was busy with some other things. We will be uploading the rest of the attendance. Latest by Monday, by early next week, we'll be uploading all the attendance. Please use the same email ID to join the Zoom thing. If you are using a different ID in Zoom and different in AICT, we'll try to help you on a case by case basis. And I'll also request you to use Atal email ID for your Future Skills Prime course completion, because the assessment you will only be able to give with your AICT registered email ID. So those are some housekeeping instructions I wanted to share. And now over to Aditya, who's working with Orange Mantra. He's taken sessions earlier with us and they have been extremely popular. And that's why I was hoping to get him to take the sessions for you also, because he makes it very engaging and interactive. And you don't need more proof. He's right here. So over to you, Aditya.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks, Kamna. So, yeah, definitely one important part of my presentations is to keep things very interactive. And however, we also want to learn as much as possible, and that's also really important. So what I'm going to be talking about today is how Gen AI can be leveraged for presentation purposes and how it is being used for creation of documents, and how we can leverage Gen AI in the best possible way to create presentations. That's one. Second, to create content that matches into those presentations. And third, last but not least, what is also very important, to understand the limitations of generative AI, because there is a lot of talk in the market and there's a lot of talk everywhere today that you can do everything with generative AI. Everything is there, and everything is available for us, and all of those things. However, there are certain limitations. So I would like to um, talk about those limitations, and yet how we can work around those limitations and get the best possible output from Gen AI. So what I will do first, of course, let me share my screen. Let me take us through. I have a 3-step plan for today's presentation. The first step plan that I've got is to talk about slight limitations so we can see what Gen AI is not good at. Second, we will look at what Gen AI is good at. And I'm pretty sure, since we have pretty experienced audience here today, and everyone is an expert, and everyone has gotten a lot of experience with Gen AI. So I'm sure all of us are very well aware what we can work in terms of using these LLMs, what kind of questions we can ask, and what kind of prompts we need to give. So I will not be taking a very deep dive onto that. What I will do first is, let's take a great example. This is exactly just what I just spoke, that there's lots of models out there. There's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. And one of the points that we must note is they are trained on a lot of data, and they are trained to be very, very confident of their output. So what happens with that confidence sometimes is the answer is incorrect, but the model is still very sure it is correct. And then you probe it a little more, and then you find out that no, it was not really that correct. So we need to be wary of that confidence, but yet we need to be able to get and extract as much out from it. So what we will do is, I have a question for everyone right now. Let's pick up a presentation topic and we'll try to have a Gen AI write a presentation for us. So which one would you like to pick up out of these 4 topics? If you want to, mention in chat which one we want to go with, we'll go ahead, or I'll pick one and, we can go ahead with that. So we have 4 options. We have history of computers, we've got ancient kingdoms of India, best travel destinations, and most valuable degrees in 2025. So out of these, please write your answers in chat. So we've got option 4, most valuable degrees. We've got Dr. Divyesh with that. Who else? Anyone else? We have just one. Okay. All right. Option 4, option 4, option 4. Okay. Now, I hope everyone has heard of Copilot, what Copilot is, and how it is being marketed everywhere, and how all of these options are coming up. So I'm pretty sure we've heard of Copilot. Now, this is PowerPoint for web. What I'm going to do is I've opened up a very standardized template that is available on all Microsoft platforms. You would have seen this template. You would have seen this kind of a very basic template. So you'll take option 4, most valuable degrees for 2024, and let us attempt for ChatGPT to write this presentation for us. So every time you see a lot of marketing material being done by all these companies which tell us Gen AI can do everything, but maybe it can't do everything. So let's try to work with Copilot and let's tell it, take this presentation template and my screen is not being shared. I think my screen is being shared. Is it visible to everyone? I'm just seeing Dr. Jaideep or Jaideep Singh is mentioning no. Kamna, is my screen visible? Okay, just for the sake of Mr. Jaideep Singh, who's mentioned that he's not able to see, I'll stop sharing and I'll reshare. Just give me a moment. Okay, so I've stopped and restarted sharing. Is it visible to everyone? Okay. Now Mr. Jaideep Singh is also able to see. Great. Fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is as we were just about to start, so we decided to go ahead with most valuable degrees for 2025. And I'm going to use Copilot, which is a Microsoft product. And, they charge good money for it as well. They provide it in their MS stack, but let's see how well does it really work. And this is nothing against Copilot. There's a lot of great things it does, which I will show you as well later during this talk. But let's see, can Gen AI do everything that we want it to do? So the prompt I'm giving it is, take this presentation template and edit it to be a presentation for most valuable degrees in 2025. You may edit all the slides. The audience for this presentation is professors who are teaching bachelor's and master's level courses in both technical and non-technical fields. You may remove slides from the template that you deem not fit, and you may edit all the content as you desire. All right, so this is a sufficiently good prompt. Taking this prompt into any of our ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini will get us content for sure. It will, they are very good at generating content, but how good is it at making this presentation? Let's take a look. All right. So I've given it the prompt. Now I am awaiting. It is analyzing it. All right. Let's wait a few moments while it analyzes. At the same time, okay. All right, here we go. So it looks like the attempt to remove all slides from the template caused an error because of how the internal XML structure works in PowerPoint files. I'll create a new presentation from scratch rather than, okay. So it encountered a hurdle. Something went, now it's going ahead and it's analyzing again. Let's wait a moment again. So the moment we start working with different file formats, it is when some challenges start occurring. It's analyzing, it will attempt again. And based on my experience working with this tool, and I'm sure a lot of you would have seen this the same scenario come up when you have used Copilot, or when you've used Copilot for Excel, for example. You've tried to use Copilot for Excel to analyze some data, but it's not really worked that well. So coming back, we'll let this analyze for a moment, but I wanted to highlight this part that Gen AI is not perfect. It still involves a lot of human involvement, and it requires a lot of smart work to be able to get the most out of it. We will come towards the end of this presentation. We will come to a point where I will show you how to make a beautiful presentation with just LLMs, and how you will be able to create stunning presentations in, let's say, 5 minutes. We'll come to that. Now let's take the same prompt. Here I've got a prompt, the same prompt, and I'm going to go into ChatGPT and I'm going to give it this prompt. Of course, there is no presentation template. So what I'm going to tell it is create a PowerPoint presentation for me on the topic of most valuable degrees in 2025. Let's remove this as there are no slides. You may edit all the slides. See, the audience for the presentation is for professors who are teaching bachelor's and master's level courses in both technical and non-technical fields. You may remove slides. This is not required. So let's tell it, please give me an output.ppt pptx file. Here we go. So let's give ChatGPT the same prompt and let's see how well it does. And we will give the same prompt to Gemini as well. All right, now let's wait, analyzing. So if, as you see, Copilot and ChatGPT, OpenAI, they are partners. So the analyzing part is the same. Let's take a look back, how well. All right, so here it has analyzed and it's created a presentation for me, Copilot. I'm going to download this, most valuable degrees in 2025. And here we go. Fantastic. So it has created this PPT for me. Okay, agenda, educational trends, key trends. So now we've got a structure that Copilot has created. But it has nothing to do with that template that we had given it. Nothing from there. But some template has come up, implications, teaching implications, and however, the content itself, if you see, there is no particular mention of the degrees that may be, should be offered in terms of, is it BTech or is it a bachelor's in AI and so on and so forth. Of course, we can give it a lot of input prompts and we can get output from it. All right, here we've got another PPT that's come up from ChatGPT. Let's take a look. Let's download this. And let me open PowerPoint and let me upload. I think Google, okay, Google is creating the slides for me right here. So we'll be able to see it in just a moment. Let me upload the file and let's see what ChatGPT created for us. All right, fantastic. So this is Most Valuable Degrees 2025, created by ChatGPT for us. Now, here is the PPT. Fairly good. Lots of content. It's basically taken the text and it has created and plugged in this content for us. However, again, this not a presentation that can directly be used, or it's not something that can really go and it still needs a lot of work. Basically, we can again go back to Copilot and we can let's pick up. So I wanted this session to be very hands-on and very interactive. I can go back to my slides and let's go ahead. And now, of course, this is where we are right now. We are taking a look at the output from all of it. Let's see if Gemini is ready. Fantastic. Even Gemini is ready. It's created 12 slides for us. Most valuable degrees in 2025, guiding the next generation of graduates. What makes a degree valuable? Wow, fantastic. Gemini looks great. Let's take a look. Key trends: AI and automation, healthcare demands, digital security. In-demand technical degrees. Don't you find this has been the best output out of them all? Something that can be used directly. Computer science, data science and analytics, engineering, cybersecurity, MS in AI machine learning, MS in data science. So it's really, and this is, I've just used the Flash model. I've just used a Flash model. I've not used the Pro model. Pro model is even much better. I didn't want to use it because the limits get exhausted much faster, and we might need it later during the presentation as well. But this is the Flash model that doesn't run out of limits, and look at it's come out with some pretty good data, and we can export it to slides, and it will take us to Google Slides and see how much we can get done. Winning Formula 1 Deep Tech AI skill. Wow, it's even come up with a formula based on India Skills Report 2025. Now, let's take a look. What is this India Skills Report that it has sourced and it has cited over here? Wow, fantastic. Take a look at Gemini's output. It's taken India Skills Report, which is a genuine report, and it has come up to us with a full-fledged formula as well that has been cited from that particular report, and it has come here. Again, its onus is on us to verify once we are presenting something that is this formula really mentioned in that source or not. But these are the kind of small things that we need to take a look at. Power of humanities, human skills in an AI world, critical thinking, and ethical reasoning. Oh, fantastic. So, all right. So here, Gemini came up with the best output, most relevant in a proper format, and also it got exported into Google Slides. Let me open up Slides. Most valuable degrees, most valuable degrees. So it got export. Oh, open Slides. Yeah. All right. Let's take a look. Fabulous. So this is a presentation that we can really go ahead and we can really use. So here definitely Gemini is the winner in this presentation. We can go back and I can take a slight minute or two and use Copilot here again. That okay, you've given me a lot of information and you've given me a lot of input, but I need this to be changed. Add visuals to your slides, and we can keep using this. Give it more prompts. Add a citation from India Skills Report 2025 on slide number 3. All right, here we go. All right. Embed, would you like me to format the citation as a footnote embedded in the slide text or create a separate references slide for all sources? Cool. So I hope, and I'm pretty sure that we have seen how we can keep talking to these agents and try to keep getting more done. So for example, if I wanted to have a lot more done here. I could keep speaking to it, I could keep prompting, and I could have the best possible presentation coming out from it. Now, let's take a little more complex dive, and let's see how well the agents perform when what I've done is I've got an IIT a PDF, IIT Physics, downloaded a PDF here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this PDF into Gemini, ChatGPT, and I'm going to say, I'm going to tell it that pick up most of the information or most important information that you deem, and create a presentation for me based on this PDF that is being uploaded. These are question and answers. And let's see how that performs. So now we're going to give it a more complex task to do in terms of we are going to take a complicated PDF. It's got a lot of mathematical equations, a lot of physics equations, and it's for IIT. And we're going to see how well the agents perform when we ask it to make a presentation for us based on an input complex PDF. Let me start up a new chat. Or actually, what we can also do is, just give me a moment. All right. So just to summarize what we can take back from the first part of this session, the first part where we were creating a PPT from scratch, attempting to create a PPT, and we'll see what worked and what didn't. So just to summarize, we tried to give Copilot a template that I want the template to be this, and you just need to change the content. However, it encountered an error and it created a new PPT for us, infusing in some concepts and infusing in a lot of text, but not it was lacking what we would call as very specific insights, where it's got things mentioning like most valuable degrees, and then it's talking about curriculum alignment, guiding educators, and I mean, if you look at this, there's still a lot of work that needs to go into this PPT. So maybe it did not get the crux of what we were looking for, and it did not use the template that we asked it. However, it did understand that this is the topic that we want to create the PPT on, and it went ahead and created a PPT for us. We then also attempted the same prompt and same input prompt with ChatGPT, the browser-based ChatGPT. It generated a presentation for us, and what it did is, in a PPT file format, it took up the document text that it generally generates, infused it inside that, and created for us a set of slides with that text infused into it. Still, a lot of work needs to go into this, but yes, it did come up with a PPT for us. And lastly, we of course then we went into Gemini, and sorry, I've changed that slide now, and it created a semi-beautiful PPT for us. So clear winner in this for the task that we gave it is Gemini, and we use Gemini Flash, not even the Pro model, which will perform. Based on my experience, in terms of its overall ability, Pro is, I would say, 1.5x as good as Flash is. So here we can see further. I think a lot of things can be done by giving it prompts, and it's basically a never it gets as good as we prompt it, and we keep prompting it. So let's now make it a little more complex, little more complicated. We've taken a physics IIT PDF and we've uploaded it, and we're going to ask Gemini and we're going to ask ChatGPT to create a presentation for us. Would anyone like to give me a prompt, what we should give? Would anyone like to share what we want to prompt it? As we all have esteemed professors and people experienced in this domain. So would anyone like to share a prompt? What kind of PPT we should present for this Physics IIT PDF? If you have a prompt, you can share it in the chat. Anyone would like to share a prompt? Please go ahead. Please share it here. We'll wait 15 seconds. If we don't get it, then of course I'll go ahead. Anyone sharing a prompt, please? No worries. So let me go ahead and let's take this Physics IIT PDF and let's prompt, please create a PowerPoint presentation for me based on this set of IIT Physics questions PDF, taking in most important questions you deem fit and creating 5 sections in the slides in total, one for each core concept that you deem fit as per this PDF. All right. Let's see how well Gemini performs. And let's give ChatGPT the same task. Meanwhile, while these do the analysis, would anyone like to, I would like to ask, how familiar is everyone with basic HTML in the audience today? Are we familiar with HTML, everyone? Okay. So we have Mr. Jaideep Singh, he's familiar. Are others familiar with HTML as well? Anyone else? Okay, no problem. All right, let's await the answers. All right, fantastic. So quickly, ChatGPT has come back. IIT Physics important questions. And let me download this. Fantastic. 32 kilobytes of a presentation has been created. So it is very likely what ChatGPT would have done. It would have created a very similar presentation to this same text-based output that we have seen. Let me upload this and let's take a look. All right. Most important IIT physics concepts and questions. Okay, so what ChatGPT has done, it's created the 5 sections as we asked it to do. Brilliant. And it's mentioned mechanics, question 2 and question 3, block with circular cut and sliding, wave pulse on the rope with hanging mass. Okay. Can't really understand what the details of this presentation mean. However, it has semi-successfully been able to parse that PDF and create a slide and a presentation for us. So I would say this is maybe 4 out of 10. It did take the prompt very well about the 5 questions and created topics, and then it's listed out question 11 and 12, what those are. Let's go back and let's await now. Here we go. Let's see what Gemini is doing. 12 slides again. So it seems like Gemini has a slide bias for 12 slides. I think if we prompt it to create more, it will do that. But by default, I think it creates 12. IIT Physics Challenge, a review of core concepts and key problems. Fabulous. Section 1, mechanics, analyzing forces in motion. Okay, let's see what is done. All right. Much better, much better. I think if we look at this output and we compare with the ChatGPT's output, maybe much more usable. Section 2, it's again taken one question. A slight formatting issue is there, or maybe that might be because I'm looking at it in this view. But it's taking those questions very well, and it's even providing us the formulas. It's picked up the formulas as well. Beat frequency, wow, fantastic. This takes me back to my own college days. Doppler effect, fabulous. Okay, thermodynamics, another very problem, matching thermodynamic processes. Okay, so maybe I would say this is a 6 or 7 out of 10 in the overall presentation, what we're looking for. Of course, we can prompt it. We can add a prompt that add a question in the thermodynamics section and explain what is, let's say, I think the first concept for thermodynamics that comes in my mind is specific heat capacity. So in a separate slide altogether. Okay, let's see. Just a second. It says it's a very very obedient task taker, focusing on user intent. Okay, it says it's trying to understand why I would be doing that only for thermodynamics, maybe implementing the revisions. Okay, so as you see here, the output that Gemini is providing to us in terms of presentations seems to be more intuitive rather than ChatGPT. Of course, it's given us a PPT over here, and then we need to go and upload it, and then we need to start working with it. But maybe this might be more suffice for what we are looking to do. What we'll also do is at the same time, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to create a summary for the above PDF. And mind you, the above PDF is very, very complex, and it's very detailed. It's got a lot of questions. It's not a small PDF of just 2, 4, 5 pages. This is a PDF with 32 pages, and each with formula, each with questions, and not just simple questions, but a lot of detail. So let me create a summary for the above PDF in at the most 500 or maybe 500 words, and summarize each question in the PDF in text format. All right, let's give it this task and have it summarize all these questions in less than 500 words. And let's see how well it does. So section 1, let's see, flat plate moves through rarefied gas. Let's go back here. Flat plate, rarefied gas, okay. And concepts tested, relation between resistive force. Okay, awesome. So very, very good at summarizing each of the questions. And take a look. It's summarized the questions, created a section, and created different sections for us. And it's given us this output. So much better output and much more useful output, at least at a first level, than just having a presentation or a PPT created, because then it kind of divides its internal compute resources into creating the PPT also, and then getting the questions as well. Okay, now coming back to what we were doing with Gemini. So we had asked it to create a slide. So now you take a look. We've asked it to add a slide. Now more than it's got from 12, it's gone to 14. Section 1, we didn't ask it to make any change. It's left it as it is. Section 3, thermodynamics. Okay, so here is the problem. This is the problem that it had defined. It took another problem, heat radiation. Fabulous. And here it's created a slide for us for specific heat capacity. So if I now, in the way I've been working with these agents and these LLMs is I've been working with with multiple at the same time, because I do a lot of very detailed technical work, with machine learning and artificial intelligence, and I use these agents to sometimes validate and verify my work. And I found that a lot of times that the verification it does, it requires re-verification over and over again. So along with me doing the re-verification, I have the work that is output by one of the agents, and I input that into the other agent. So if I take a look now, what I will do is I'm going to open another. So just to set the context, what we have done is we've asked ChatGPT here to summarize the IIT physics PDF in 500 words and summarize each question in text format. So we've got a summary here that has been generated by ChatGPT. Now let's take this complete summary and go into Gemini. I'll create a new Gemini screen. I'll leave the slides as it is. We'll come back to that in just a moment. So let me go into Gemini. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this complete output of summary that ChatGPT created. And I'm going to ask Gemini, I'm going to upload that file again. And I'm going to ask, study the above PDF and verify if this is an appropriate 500-word summary for it. So let's see how well did ChatGPT perform. I have taken this complete output from ChatGPT and I've pasted it into Gemini. And let's ask Gemini, without telling it that, hey, this came from ChatGPT. I mean, we can tell it that as well, and then the models kind of nitpick each other at times, but that's just something fun to do. But here, let's take a look at what's the output. So study the above PDF and verify if this is an appropriate 500-word summary for it. Let's take a look. Let's see what it says. It's doing the verification. It's thinking and analyzing. Meanwhile, while it does that, let's take a look again what we did here. So we've been able to just give prompts, and Gemini works very well with these PPTs. It's giving us a full-fledged working zone that we can call it, and it is giving us the output for each of those slides right away. So this is fantastic. Now, all right, let's take a look. The provided summary is appropriate and highly accurate for the content of Physics IIT PDF. Summary correctly details all of this. Fantastic. Size topic by topic summary. And again, what it's done is it's taken these questions and it's come back to us with all of these summaries of itself. Now, if you were to create a summary for the PDF, are things that you would add. Okay. Examination context, explicitly state the context, detailed marking scheme, crucial for strategy. Okay, fantastic. All right. So what I want to highlight here in what I've just done here is that while this has been a good starting point example, one of the things to always do is when you're working with detailed PDFs and detailed summaries and detailed document analysis or presentation creation, it's always good to verify the concept of the output of one LLM and put it into the second LLM like Gemini and have it verified. So there are many numerous instances where I have had the experience that the output from one is actually not fully correct, which, during the re-verification process, I've been able to validate and verify that. So that's the concept I want to highlight. So what we have seen so far, we've seen PPTs being created by Copilot, by Gemini, by ChatGPT. We have found Gemini creates nice PPTs. I mean, we can even change the theme of the PPT to black and gold instead of white and blue. So now when we want to, let's say, design something, maybe we want to maintain a color scheme or maintain a theme, we can have these models do that as well for us. So there's a lot that they can do. And some of the things that they still encounter difficulty with is when we tried to, give it a template and said that work within this template, it found a little bit of a challenge with that. Not always. It can work with such templates, but I am going to show in the next half of this presentation how we can overcome that. And the reason I was asking if something went wrong here again. So here, this is something that, okay, if you look at the reasoning, adjusting CSS colors, fine-tuning color choices, finalizing theme colors, okay, changing, something went wrong. Let's try again. So as we are seeing here, working with themes and designs, Gemini has also faced a challenge here. If you see here, something went wrong. Let's try again. Let's see if this works. So content generation, text generation, formula generation works well, but changing themes, colors, and PPTs, maybe not always that great. That's no problem though. I mean, we are still able to get a lot of information, and we saw Gemini is even able to, directly fetch sources on its own, like the India Skills Report, and then it fetched it and it added into this PPT. The reason this is happening is because all of these LLMs, they are uh, not as heavily trained on proprietary file formats like PPTs, and they would work not very well with Word docs, but they would work much better with .txt. They would work very well with PDFs. They work very well with CSVs, but not very well with Excels. So that is one of the important concepts that we must learn, that these LLMs work very good with very open source and standardized file formats. CSVs, fantastic. TXT, PDF, fantastic. Word, Excel, not very good. PPTs, as we are seeing here, even it says here that it's okay, perfect. It worked. It changed the theme and it's now black and gold. So it took a while. It did encounter an error. It did fail a moment, but it's come back with us with some kind of a change color. Now, again, there are some formatting issues, but by and large, it's working. And, we can make it as this PPT as detailed as possible. Coming back to the question that I had asked, how comfortable we are with HTMLs. The reason for that is I'm going to be showing how we can use agentic AI to create something phenomenal in lesser than 5 minutes, and make it really, really beautiful, and something that wows your end user and your end customers and your end audience with very minimal effort. So this is what we are going to do next. We have seen a lot of presentations. We've seen how well these documents and concepts work with presentations. But before we go into the next half, I would like to ask, are there any questions that you would like to ask? I'll open the floor for a question, for any question. So please go ahead. Okay, so any questions, guys? Please feel free. Feel free to ask any questions if you may have. Okay, so we'll come back for a question and answer round in just a short while again. Let me start the next half of my presentation. And what I would like to now show is agentic AI, what agentic AI is, and how well it works, and what are the uh, possibilities with agentic AI, and what are some of the challenges also being faced. But I would again share my screen, and all right, so we have some in the audience who are familiar with HTML. What we are going to do is we are going to create slides for most valuable degrees in 2025 again, as that's the that is the topic that we decided to go with. But what we are going to do is we are going to use HTML instead of PPTs. So how are we going to use HTML? So if I share one link over here, now this is something that you can incorporate in your daily life, in your daily work, and this is something that I use very often as well. So if we take a look, what I'm sharing on my screen right now are free HTML templates. These are very beautiful templates, and they are absolutely free. If we take a look at, we'll take a look at this one here. So these are templates, and the code can be downloaded directly. This is available on this website called twoplate.com. If we take a look at the live view of this template, if you see, it's a really beautiful template. I mean, this looks fabulous. Oh, I have too many pages open. Just a moment. I'm going to close the slides since we don't need those now. All right. So really beautiful template. And this is, this is a real beautiful template. So coming back, let's ask ChatGPT, create a 500-word document for me that defines the most valuable degrees in 2025 with clear source references. My audience is, let's say, my audience is the general public. Let's not define it. Let's keep it. My audience is the or actually, let's not even define the audience. Let's give it just this simple prompt. All right. Here is a 500-word output from here. Okay. Now we've seen this template, and I'm going to show you what I have downloaded. Two templates. So I have this really beautiful template here. It's parallax depth. Looks really good. Looks really beautiful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use agentic AI to build an HTML based presentation that can run on any browser using the content that has been generated from ChatGPT itself. Now, change the content, be a prompt for a website, keeping the core references and text and details as. So I've asked it to generate this content for me, that what are the most valuable degrees in 2025 with source references. Now I have changed it, website ready prompt version. Okay. So here is the prompt version of this output. Still a little very detailed. Maybe we don't need this much detail. I'll ask it to reduce the amount of detailing each section, highlighting only 4 concepts. All right. So I have this template here, HTML, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that template in my. Okay, before I speak about VS, is everyone familiar with VS Code by any chance? Okay, Dr. Siva Venkata is not. How about others? Okay, so I think we are not very well versed with VS Code, and that's absolutely fine. What we are going to do is we are going to take a look at how agentic AI behaves, and I would share a link. I would request everyone after this session to download VS Code just so that you can entail the benefits that agentic AI provides for your daily activities and work. Maybe if this is one of the things that we take back from this session, I would like everyone here to just get a very, you just have to, I'm sharing a link here. It's a Microsoft product, VS Code. So after this session, or maybe even during this session, if you would like, all of you can download VS Code and you can get started with this. So once you download it, it's really simple. And what we're going to do is after you download it, the second thing you need to do is, I'm sharing another link over here, install Copilot in VS Code. So these are the two tools that we are using right now. This is, I hope both the links are available. You can see it. The first link is to download VS Code. And the second link is, to host and panelists. Sorry, I'll just share it again to everyone. Okay. So the first link is to download VS Code. It's completely free. And the second link is to set up Copilot. This is also free. However, I would suggest that once you get your hands on with Copilot, you can try the paid version at $10 a month. And that gives you a plethora of things that you will just see what I'm going to be doing here with the template that I've just shown you. So let me share my screen now. And all right. Okay, so we have downloaded Parallax, this template from this same site, which I have shared earlier with you, twoplate.com. Let me share this in the chat as well for your reference later. So you will be able to download all these free, really beautiful templates that will allow you to work with HTML with no coding required. What I'm going to be doing now requires no code. So this was to download and install VS Code. And the second one is to install Copilot. These are the two things you need to do. After that, you can download any of the templates and load them in VS Code. Just open the folder in VS Code. And you see here, we've got this HTML code. Some of you are familiar with HTML. If you're not, it really doesn't matter. You see, this is basically the same code which is presenting this website to us. So it says Parallax over here. And yeah. And we've got parallax depth. You see here in the code, all these things written: immersive, multi-layer scrolling experience, explore depths, exactly mentioned over here. Now I'm going to take the summary here that has been generated by ChatGPT, right? This is the same summary which I asked it to generate, most valuable degrees for 2025 with the sources, and it's generated this small summary for me. The moment you install VS Code and you get Copilot, you'll see a chat-based option show up. What I had earlier shown you with PPT in the Copilot showing up. So in VS Code again, you have this chat showing up, and it says here build with agent mode. So this is exactly the agentic AI that everyone is speaking for, these days, marketing it very heavily and speaking a lot about it. I want to really show you what the power of agentic AI is. We've got this beautiful template here. What I'm showing you now will work with any template. All I'm going to tell it is change the website to be about the following details. What I did is I copied the content from ChatGPT, most valuable degrees in 2025, and all these details just copied from there. I'm going to remove the emojis, although it doesn't really matter, but no worries. Okay, perfect. Copied, pasted over here, no code written. This code is also downloaded from the web. I have not written this code at all. This is parallax depth. And here we go. So this is now my agent working for me. I have told it to change the website to be about the following details: most valuable degrees in 2025. In 2025, job market continues to reward degrees that blend technology, analytics, engineering, so on and so forth. And now you can see this is writing code for me. The green lines that appear over here, these are transforming the complete website for me from that template, which had nothing to do with most valuable degrees. It was actually called parallax depth, which didn't really mean anything in our context. And here we go. Our agent is now working. And it is going to create a really beautiful website for us for the content which we got from ChatGPT. I have not written any code. This same task, I have been writing code for the past 10 years. This same task would have taken me, if I include first getting the content, what is the content? Maybe that's 2 days of work. Then after that, writing the code, or at least finding the template and understanding what the template does. My screen is not visible. Is it not visible to everyone? Let me stop and reshare it. I hope it's visible.
Yes, it is quite visible.
Okay, all right. So as we see over here, this is our agent working now, and it's writing the code for me. It says here it's working, and just give it another 30 seconds to 1 minute, and it will have presented and created this really beautiful website for us. I have not done any coding here. The same task, like I was mentioning, would have taken me 2 days to first maybe get the content, then another day to get the right template and understand the code inside the template, and maybe then another 2 or 3 days to write the requisite code inside the template for the content that I'm looking for. But now this entire is going to be done for me in just another, in a few minutes. This is the entire output. So agentic AI is fantastic. It's really great. I have been using it in great depth and in great details. I have, gotten very, very well versed with the entire output and how well it works, and what other things that is good at and what other things it's not good at. So see, it's actually removing those parallax depth the red parts, and it is writing over here most valuable degrees. All right, take a look now. So perfect. I've successfully transformed the website to be about most valuable degrees in 2025 about section. Now let's take a look at what the website looks like. Reveal in Finder, double click, most valuable degrees. Here we go. Take a look. Explore opportunities. Why these degrees matter. Future ready education. 2025. High ROI. Job security. Top degrees for 2025. Computer science and AI. Engineering. Data science. Nursing and healthcare. And take a look at the detailing that has been done by this agent. And look at this. Even the images that have been generated and have been put are relevant. Healthcare careers, relevant image. Global opportunities, innovation and research. It's got a robot image. This is not what, if you look at the image in the template, these are the images that are there in the template. But here, what the agent has done for me, it has even picked up the right images that I need. So this is what the power of, and if you take this website and you just cut, I'm going to show you a little more detail in just a moment, but if you take this website and crop out each of these sections, you would have a presentation that is 10 times better than any typical presentation that you would make. And this is something that has been done in front of you in 5 minutes. I've gotten the content from ChatGPT. I've plugged it into my agent over here, and I've just told it that change this website to be about most valuable degrees. Now, what we will do, let's work a little more with this. So I want you to understand this, the power of this in great extent. Let us change this website to be of a PowerPoint presentation design. For each of the sections in the website, index.html, create a new page starting with the hero. Hero essentially means just the first. This is in website nomenclature. The hero is basically the landing image. Create a new page and add previous next buttons at the bottom so that each section is a separate page and the user can go previous next as if it was a PowerPoint presentation. All right, now what you see here, we've got just one file, index.html. What I've told this agent to do is to break this single file into separate pages. So what it's understood it says, I'll transform this website into a PowerPoint style presentation with separate pages for each section and navigation buttons. Let me create the necessary files. Now in the next 3 to 5 minutes, this entire process is going to complete. We can all go have our cup of tea, get some water, come back, and it will be ready for us. So life becomes much easier. This is what people say, that life with AI can become really easy and can be transformed. So here we go. It's created the first slide one. So now it's taking that same template, which we saw at the start of the presentation, where I had told Copilot that use that PPT template and create most valuable degrees presentation for me. It was not able to do it. It did not take that template. It just created something else for me. Different template, different content, everything came out differently. But working with agentic mode, which is why I've asked you all to download VS Code and get the Copilot extension. is because then you are able to work directly in agentic mode. And working with agentic mode allows you, as you see here, one by one, it's creating these pages for me. Slide 1, hero.html, slide 2, about.html. It will create 5 or 6 slides, and then we'll take a look and we will see that we get the same presentation look output that, let's say you want to present something to your students or to your peers or anywhere. You can pick up a template from this website which I've shown you. They have, and there are so many other similar websites. You can pick any template from here. You can load it into VS Code and work with agentic mode and tell it, let's say you want to create a portfolio like website, use this template. It will change the content and it will have it ready for you in not more than 10 minutes. Pick up all the content you need from ChatGPT or Gemini and it will do it brilliantly for you. Here we go. It's still working. It's now on page number 3. In just a moment, we will see the brilliance of agentic mode. And I'm showing you with HTML, but if you're familiar with more other programming languages like Python, Java, you can even use agentic mode for those applications. So there's a plethora of work that can be done. There's a lot that can be done. And you would find that that working with agentic mode really, uh, you know, cuts down time to do the mundane activities like copying the content from one place to another, finding the content. Actually, we didn't even need to copy the content from ChatGPT the way I did over here. Agentic mode, it's got the LLMs under the hood. It will pick up that content itself, and it will generate it for you. So we don't even need to copy the content from ChatGPT. I only did that for reference purposes. We can actually tell it to generate the content in agentic mode itself for us. So here the best agents that, so here you see we have all the LLMs available. I have the premium version of Copilot. So I've got, these are the standard versions that are available: GPT 4.1, GPT 4.0, GPT 5 mini, Grok. But agentic mode works best with Claude models. So if you ever find that you're using GPT and you're not although these also work in agentic mode, but Claude is built for agentic mode. So if you once you download it to use Claude, get the Copilot extension, set it all up and use Claude, and you would literally find that it's like having a coder for you who does everything with just text prompts. So highly recommended. And I would suggest after this meeting or tomorrow, take a few minutes and get well versed with VS Code and Claude. So this is almost done. Let me update the main index to redirect to the first slide. Okay, perfect. Now we will see how we have taken one template free available from the web, no cost at all. We've downloaded it, inserted it into VS Code, again, freely available, open source, used Copilot, given it a text prompt, copied the content from ChatGPT, and made this website for us. And converted that website into a PPT format. So here we go. This is now a PPT format. So let's say this is here. It used the same kind of design that we had in the template. And here we go. We have a PPT ready for us that will work on any browser. It will work. You just need to open the HTML file, take a look. Everything has been converted into a slide format for us. Now it's not on all on one page, like as if it's a website. So all the content is here. Career pathways. And we have a PPT ready for us. So how easy was that? This is better than any PPT that we could have created on PowerPoint, which would have taken us 4 hours. And what we can do is unlimited over here. So here I don't think we need to go all the way. I think you've got the idea now that this is a presentation that has been created for us, completely with AI, completely with agentic mode, and it's taken us no more than 5 minutes. Any questions on this so far? Yes. So Dr. Saswati has a question. Here, Copilot is working as agentic AI. Absolutely. So Copilot is the product, is the extension, and under the hood we have the LLMs that are working. So I have used Claude, and it is working for us, and it's working as agentic AI. Absolutely. Floor is open for question, guys. Please ask me any questions that you may have. I would love to answer your questions before we move into the final stage. And so, okay, we have just one question. Any other questions that anyone else would like to ask? So Claude is also a Gen AI tool. Then why we need both? Okay, so Copilot is the extension that allows you to communicate with. Let me share. I think my screen is already visible, right? So Copilot is basically the extension that if you go into this extensions marketplace, which is this one here. So if you search here, Copilot is the extension that gives you this power to be able, it's basically what they call it, your AI pair programmer. Now, Claude is just one of the models. Claude is not an agent itself. Claude is an LLM. The agent is Copilot. So your AI pair programmer is Copilot. And the model that we use, so let's say I shift from Claude Sonnet 4.5, I shifted to Claude Sonnet 4. I have the option, or even if I shift this agent to, let's say, GPT 4.1, and I tell it that change the heading. So here, these are models. So to your question, Claude is also Gen AI, and Copilot is working as agent. So Copilot is the agent. Claude is the LLM under the hood. So we can think of it as Copilot is the agent, and the brain inside the agent is Claude. However, you can change the brain inside the agent. You can make it GPT 4.1, you could make it Gemini, you could make it GPT 5, and so on and so forth. So let's say we wanted to do one thing. I'll go back to this same example. I'll open this here. And here what we've got is it's calling it future degrees to the top, right? Let's call that, change the heading from future degrees to future skills prime. Now I'm not using Claude, I'm using GPT, ChatGPT, basically. That's the brain that I've provided my agent. So now again, the agent is working, but it's like you change the processor inside your computer from Intel i7 to Intel i9, or in the case of this, you've changed it from Intel i9 to Intel i7, because Claude is, in terms of agent, coding agents, Claude is the benchmark, it's the best, and then the others fall a little short behind from it. So here we go. Now this is what GPT is doing. It's going to change the heading from future degrees to future skills prime. Okay, now let me go back into this page, refresh the page, and it says here future skills prime. So this time it was not Claude that did the work, it was GPT. And similarly, we can also, use Gemini is also on offer. Claude Haiku is on offer. GPT-5 is on offer. All of these models are on offer. So it's up to us. But Copilot is the extension you need to be able to access these LLMs inside your VS Code environment, inside your agentic environment. So I hope that answers that question. I'd love to hear more questions, please. Anyone else would like to ask? Okay. Now what we're going to do, we are coming to the part which I mentioned, that we did not need to actually go into ChatGPT to get this content for us. Uh, let's tell it here itself, and we'll use Claude again, and we'll say, because we've already seen ChatGPT can generate content. Let's say add content, or let's say make the content in all the slides relevant only to India. This is something that we did not tell ChatGPT in the input that we gave it, that we just told it that give me the best degrees for 2025. But now we are going to shift it, and we are going to change the mode a little bit. And we have told it that make all the content. So here it's a combination of code plus content. So it says here, I'll update all the slides to make the content relevant only to India. If you see, right, as of now, these slides, they don't talk specifically about India. This is not in terms of India. But let's see how well. Okay, so it's already started here. You see one by one, it's updating the content. Most valuable degrees in India. Future proof your career in India 2025. It's going one by one. So it's going to be uploading that. We are seeing the changes in real time. So working in agentic mode allows you to get the content and the designs in one go. So this is a really time saver. It's something that has saved a lot of time, and I have been actively using this, and I would suggest that if you give it a try tomorrow, you will find the benefits to be tremendous. Here we go. So why these degrees matter in India? Now, this is something content that has been generated mainly for India. In 2025, India's job market continues to reward degrees that blend tech, analytics, engineering, and healthcare. India's booming IT sector, growing startup ecosystem, digital, and even mentioning about the governmental initiatives like Digital India. So this is content that Claude has generated from us. From AI development in Bangalore to healthcare expansion across tier 2 cities, these degrees represent smartest investment for Indian students. So top choice for Indian students, CS and AI graduates from IITs, NITs, top private colleges enjoy highest packages in IT services, tips, engineering. So lots and lots of content being okay. It's not reached slide 4 yet. It's just reaching here. Okay, you see here. So this is happening in real time, and the changes that we were seeing happen in real time. And then slide 5 contact. So let's refresh the page. Okay, so here, take a look. Global opportunities, work from India and abroad. R&D and ISRO, DRDO, Indian Space Defense Tech. So these are not pages that are created. We can tell Claude to create a page each for, so take a look, IT services. It's mentioned TCS, Infosys, Wipro, manufacturing and PSUs, Make in India initiatives, analytics and consulting, e-commerce and fintech, healthcare sector, AIMS, Apollo, medical tourism, banking and finance, CA, MBA, investment banking, cybersecurity, digital India and security needs. So it is able to, here, take a look. So now we have a full-fledged website, and this is can also double up as a presentation for you, as a PPT that has been done completely. Indian contact details, now futureskillsindia.edu. This is some, I don't think this is something that a website that we really have. We can put it in agent mode, and we can, go ahead and tell it to change whatever changes we want to make. So if you find that it's not working, if there are some slight errors are there, like let's say here we see that the page is half of the page has the content, the other half does not. So we can tell it specific things, that in slide 2, about the content is only written on half the screen. So move these two cards, high ROI in India, job security in India, to the right of the screen. So move the two cards, high ROI and job security, to the right of the screen. So wherever we want any changes to be done, like I wanted the website to change from future jobs to future skills prime, I told it, make that change, it did it. Here again, I've told it that modify this so that the content is not just on half the screen, but it's going to be on both the sides. So it's going to do that for me right now. So coming back to where, like I started coding from this, and this page itself, like for me to be able to move these from half the screen to, covering both the sides of the screen, this itself would take me, this might take me an hour to do as a coder. But here, it does it right away. Now let me refresh the page and it's moved it to the right. Can you see it? So very brilliantly, very beautifully, it's moved these two cards to the right of the screen. Brilliant. Similarly, we might be seeing some slight issue here that these buttons here are getting covered by the slide. So we'll tell it that in slide 3 features, the left right buttons for the cards are not clickable, and the cards like computer science and AI are not scrollable. Please fix. So again, I have not written any code. If I wanted, I would go into these files and I would really read each of these lines of code and try to understand it. Now it's trying to figure out why it's not clickable. So it's even giving me the reasoning. It checked the JavaScript, so the JavaScript looks fine. It seems like the Z index. Now it sees the issue. Any questions on agentic AI, guys? I've taken HTML as an example, but there is a lot more that can be done in terms of this entire process. So here we go. What it did is, it's okay. We need to tell it to move these to the bottom so that they can be clickable. But I am sure now you get the idea of the brilliance that can be completed with agentic AI. I would really love to hear. Okay, so we have one more question from Dr. Saswati. Is it possible the other way around, that Claude is a Gen AI tool? Then why we need both? No. So the agent is Copilot, and Claude is, I think Claude has an extension for VS Code as well that you can download. And I'm pretty sure you will be able to use it, but I would say that will limit you only to using Claude. So that might, Claude will definitely have this extension. So you see here, there is an extension here that says Claude Code for VS Code, and it's provided. But that way, what's going to happen is that you will be limited to Claude only. What if, Claude is an expensive tool on its own, and it's much cheaper to use Copilot for $10 a month. You get Claude and you get all the other models as well. So you can use a Claude agent and use Claude under the hood. But I would suggest that use Copilot. That gives you access to all of these models. So let's say you run out of credits for Claude, you can shift into GPT, you can shift into Gemini, you could use Grok. So you have all the options available to you as and when you need it. But yes, to answer your question, there is a Claude agent extension as well provided in VS Code, but that will limit you to Claude. So you can use Copilot and get best of all the worlds. Any other questions, guys? So like I was mentioning, we have used HTML as an example, but these agents and LLMs work with all programming languages like Java, Python, JavaScript, React, you name it, and they work with them all. So the exercise I'm going to give you today is to take tomorrow and download VS Code, download the Copilot extension, play around with it, download a template. If you have some understanding of HTML, you can, that can be used. If not, then again, you can always ask. There is another feature here. I'll just highlight it a little more. That there's an agent mode in Copilot. There's an ask mode as well. So with the ask mode, you could actually ask, let's say you want to learn HTML. You could tell it, I am a novice HTML user. Can you explain this code to me? So now I've not used agent mode. I've switched into ask mode, and it's going ahead and explaining me the code. So I'll explain this HTML code to you step by step. Document structure. What this means tells the browser it is an HTML. So you could literally, whatever you want to understand for what's happening in this code, you could just ask, and it will give you the output and the examples right away. So there's an ask mode and there's an agent mode. Whenever you don't understand something, what's happening, you could ask. Or if you just want something done, then use the agent mode, and it will get that done for you. So the brilliance of LLMs and the brilliance of AI models is very evident. A little bit of getting hands-on with it is important to understand what works. Like at the initial part of this presentation, I wanted to show where it faced a challenge, where working with those PPT file formats, it was not able to do that. But then you switch into HTML format, a very common coding format. This is one of the oldest programming languages there is. And suddenly, look at what we got. We got a brilliant PPT style website for most valuable degrees in 2025. Got the content initially from ChatGPT. Then we got the content from Claude, and we changed everything into India focused. And then what Claude did, it went in and then it wrote, specifics for IIT, IIM, AIMS, Apollo, Digital India, Make in India. It got all that nomenclature in. And again, we can be very specific and we can say that I want only, engineering focused degrees. So it will then make that focused as well. Or I want only commerce focused degrees. So it's really all about giving it the right prompts, and working with it in agentic mode is transformational. It will save a lot of time. So I hope you have taken something back from this presentation, and I hope this has been beneficial to you. And I thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you to NASCOM and Future Skills Prime. And thank you so much. Over back to Kamna. Thanks.
Thank you, Aditya. That was a very interesting session, very hands-on, and I'm sure the faculty took away a lot of insights and actual ways to work with the models to actually, do things basically. So thank you so much for that. Thank you to all the faculty members, and we will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So please join back then. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.